I have 3 children, so I usually don't need a microphone, okay? Because I yell at them all the time. I'm gonna put on my first shirt, okay? I've been working for the YMCA for about 3 years, and I teach a class there called Zumba. And I love working at the YMCA. The YMCA has given me so many opportunities, and I have a lot of fun doing it. And then this shirt, this is the LiveStrong shirt. Can anybody read the back? Trainer. I was lucky enough this summer to get to go to school to be a trainer to work with cancer patients. I'm Merrilyn Wogoman. I teach these huge Zumba classes, with 100+ people in it. But this was different. I remember my very first class in September. I had sweat just running off. I was terrified. There's some pretty feisty folks.
Did you ever tell you about a time I shot a guy?
Alan is the grandpa I wish I had.
That's a long story, but it's a good one.
In the duration of our LiveStrong group, he had 2 strokes. The first stroke he had on a Friday, and on Tuesday he was back to class because he didn't want to lose the strength that he was getting.
It was miserable, and it was horrible, and it was hard, and it was a 25K
Beth is
night.
amazing. Beth is so much more than she gives herself credit. Deep down inside, I know Beth doesn't feel good, but boy, I'll tell you what, she's a warrior. Does anyone know what Zumba is?
Exercise to music.
Right, it's exercise to music, but it's based on Latin dance, different songs, Latin music.
Jimmy Buffett?
Actually, I use all kinds of music. So we do have one routine to Margaritaville, but that's not an appropriate one to do in here.
No.
Because we don't have margaritas to have it. I know that LiveStrong gives you the motivation to fight through whatever. Because you'll have a whole room full of people fighting with you. Now, can you roll your hips? While walking. You guys are seeing a side of me. Here, let's practice this. Go around. Like a hula hoop. Take it around like a hula hoop.
There you go, Joyce.
Joyce has got this. Now go
And
the
even
other
though they're
way.
there for themselves,
Go the other way.
they're right there for you, whether you're a participant or the teacher.
What does cancer look like? Do I look like cancer? No? I'm going to tell you a story. I was diagnosed at the age of 46 years old with one of the most aggressive, which means it spreads really, really fast, forms of breast cancer there is. My doctor walking in, and he looked at me, and the tears started, and he said, you are my first friend who's a patient that I have to tell this to. And all of a sudden you hear, and my son walks in. He's like, you're not getting this alone. Then you hear, and it's my boyfriend. About 10 minutes after that, you hear, my children's dad and I have been divorced for about 15 years. And he looked at me, because it was him, and he said, we'll have dinner tonight. We're telling them together. And he looked at the doc and he's like, what are we gonna do? Cancer is a disease, and what it does is it causes your cells, the cells in your body, to get kind of sick. We got married in October. Jeff was my middle school crush. I remember when they were wheeling me back from my mastectomy, because I haven't had a lot of surgeries. I was terrified. And I didn't want him to roll me away, and he just looked at me, he's like, I'll see you in a few minutes. And he was right there, wouldn't leave the operating room, wouldn't leave the waiting room. I was in surgery for eight hours, and he never once left. He couldn't. I don't even think he was behind me, I think he was carrying me. I'm not your moonlight and roses kind of person. But when it comes to him, somebody answer me a question. Do I look like cancer? No. Well, I can tell you that as of my last doctor appointment about 3 weeks ago, this isn't cancer anymore. It's all gone.
My name is Beth. I have, and there's probably a more technical term, but it's estrogen positive breast cancer. I was diagnosed a year ago. And what I got out of this program was that you don't say I can't around any of the trainers because they will very quickly tell you, yes, you can. I learned that I can do it.
Tissues.
And there's nothing to be ashamed of. So I appreciate that so much.
There's nothing. Now, Beth is one that I did assess and reassess.
Oh, do we have to do that? Because I didn't do well.
We only do the good ones.
Okay. There was one I didn't do as well on, and I was upset about that.
We're not going to talk about that one.
Okay, but we can.
Okay. For the walking, because you all do a walk
The night
for 6 minutes.
that we had the
and we
celebration,
have Kleptz. So when she
I
first came in, the very first day,
I wasn't sure which
she-
side of the fence I was on. Am I a participant or am I the instructor? I was more scared this time than I was the first go round because I knew if it was in the lymph nodes over here, then more than likely it was somewhere else too. I can go and get that scan and know that I am cancer-free. And that is the greatest feeling in the world, but the very next day you wake up and you wonder, is it going to come back? And you hear and you learn, but for some reason we all have that one same similar thing, which is this C word that lurks over your head. I guess being in that room that night, I realized that it didn't matter what side I was on, as long as I could still have people that were like me to be there. My plan is to be in the black shirt when you see me the next time. And if I'm not, we'll still get through it together, right?